Hi everybody, this is Kevin. I'm back with another Throwback Thursday video, and I'm here today to talk about Benjamin Tappan Jr., the founder of Ravenna. And I'm just going to go with a short overview of Benjamin Tappan. I'm not an expert on him, but I just want to give you an idea of why he's important to Ravenna in particular. There's a lot of other good sources if you want to learn more about Tappan. This is a great book. It's Ravenna, a Bicentennial album of 19th-century photographs. And Thomas Gregory did a really great job putting together a lot of information in there. So you may want to check out that if you're more interested in learning more about Tappan. And it's available at Reed Memorial Library, and also the Portage County Historical Society has copies for sale. So I'm just going to give a quick overview. Benjamin Tappan was born May 25th, 1773 in Northampton, Massachusetts. It's a small town in western Massachusetts. They had a population of about 1,500 people when Tappan was alive. These are Benjamin Tappan's parents. There's Benjamin Tappan Sr. and Sarah Holmes Tappan. They had a large family. They had 11 children, 4 daughters and 7 sons. And Benjamin Tappan had a really good education. His father was a goldsmith, so they had plenty of money for it, and he went to the West Indies and traveled and learned. He was an experienced painter. So the other thing Benjamin Tappan Sr. did was he speculated in land, and what he did was he actually bought a lot of land in the Connecticut Western Reserve. As you can see on the map here, this is Connecticut on the Atlantic coastline, and then if you draw a straight line west, this lighter area in northeast Ohio was actually owned by Connecticut, and so they called it the Western Reserve. And the Connecticut Western Reserve is actually sold to the Western Reserve Land Company, who went out there and surveyed it. And so 1795, Connecticut sells their land to the Western Reserve Land Company. 1796, they send out a surveying party, and they survey the townships and ranges. And what they did, they actually had people go through there range by range, and they would blaze the trees. So they put marks on the tree trunks so they could see where they were. And so that would be a clue for the later settlers to know where they were actually located. And you can see Ravenna here is Township 3, Range 7. So that's where my mouse is on the screen here. Each township was 5 miles by 5 miles square. And in 1798, Benjamin Tappan Sr. purchases 10,596 acres in the southern 2/3 of Ravenna Township. So Benjamin Tappan Sr.'s kind of old, and he doesn't want to really travel out there into the wilderness, so he enlists his son Benjamin Tappan Jr. And so Benjamin Tappan Jr. is really excited to go out there and do this for him. So he's going to go out there and survey the land and then divide it up to sell to other investors and purchasers and farmers who are coming out there to settle. And so from their town in western Massachusetts, Benjamin Tappan Jr. decides he's going to take a water route, while at the same time he's going to send an assistant with the oxen and horses across the country to get there by land. And so for the water route, they're taking the rivers up through New York State, and they actually reach Lake Ontario. Traveling through Lake Ontario, he meets up with David Hudson, and David Hudson is along for the same reason. He's going to settle the town of Hudson. And so they travel together. They go around Niagara Falls and into Lake Erie, and they eventually reach the mouth of the Cuyahoga River. And they take their boats and they travel upstream up to Boston Township, and that's where they part ways. At that point, Benjamin Tappan continues to Ravenna, and David Hudson goes to Hudson. One of the remarkable things about the journey was not only the length of time it took. It was 54 days. They went from April 19th through early June, but also that Tappan reported ice on Lake Erie, on his birthday, which was May 25th. And doing some research, I found out that that was actually called the long winter of 1897-1898. So it was a very long, very cold winter, and there was still ice on Lake Erie on May 25th of 1799. So once David Hudson and Benjamin Tappan part ways, Benjamin Tappan travels until he gets to Franklin Township, and he gets to Standing Rock, and that's where he picks up the old Mahoning Trail. You can see that on this map here. This is the red line. So it comes down from where Kent is and travels across Portage County, and that's where he gets to Ravenna. Now, Tappan's oxen and horses actually beat him there. They got there faster than he did, so it turned out that the overland route was faster, and that will be the route Tappan uses when he goes back to the East Coast. This is a modern map of Ravenna Township, and I put this on the screen here so you guys can see which land was actually owned by Tappan as well as where he settled. And so a really easy way to see the boundary is if you look at Lover's Lane. It goes straight across east to west, and this is actually the dividing line. So Benjamin Tappan Jr. and Sr. actually owned the land south of this line. So it's the whole southern 2/3 of Ravenna Township. That includes almost the entire city of present-day Ravenna. And it also had two waterways that were really important in early Ravenna history. There's on the southwest corner, this is Breakneck Creek, and then on the eastern side, this is the branch of the Mahoning River. And so those were both not very terribly important for travel, but they were important for the water mills that were set up later. So they were really important for commerce. When Benjamin Tappan reached Ravenna, he settled on the far southeast corner. So this is lot 35, and he built a little shelter right near the river there. So he built what he called a bark house. It was 8 feet by 8 feet, and it was made out of bark from a basswood tree. So Benjamin Tappan stayed in that little bark cottage until January 1st of 1800. At that point, he had a couple other settlers who were in the area help him put up a log cabin, and that's where he spent his first winter. Now, in the spring of 1800, he did travel back east again. He actually went back to Massachusetts, and he married this woman. This is Nancy Wright. They were married on March 20th, 1801. And what they did then was they actually packed up and returned to Ravenna by wagon. They loaded up a bunch of furniture and stuff with them that they would need and went back by wagon. And that journey was actually quicker again, and it only took 45 days. So this map here is actually showing the area around 1806. And originally this was, like I said, the Connecticut Western Reserve, but they seceded it to Ohio, so it became part of the Western Reserve Territory. And this actually became Trumbull County after it was incorporated into the state of Ohio. Trumbull County realized it was way too big, and so it started dividing up. And so the north half became Geauga County, and this was later divided up again. And the Trumbull County wanted to split up even more. In 1807, they decided they were going to form a county called Portage. And in 1807, there was actually a bit of a courthouse war about who would get to be the county seat. So it was either going to be Franklin Township or Ravenna. As you can see on this map here, neither of them is exactly in the center. But Franklin Township did have the benefit of having a better waterway. The Cuyahoga River was very useful for transportation in those days, and so it made a lot more sense for it to be in Franklin Township, and that's where the commissioners decided to put it. But there was one little catch, and that was that the landowner who owned that piece of property they had chosen died, and his will left it to his heirs, and so they weren't able to proceed with that And so the backup plan was Benjamin Tappan's suggestion of locating the courthouse in Ravenna. And he actually went out and surveyed the original town plat, and he left a section in the center for the courthouse. So it's basically these 3 lots right in the center here. And this town plat was filed in Warren in 1808. It includes 192 lots. It's 1,900 feet north and south, 1,850 feet east and west. And I've heard it read that Tappan donated these plots to be the center of the county for the township, but actually he sold them for $300. He wasn't really out there to be a philanthropist. He was out there to make money. So Tappan sold these properties after they were surveyed, and that's where the courthouse was built. And it was actually his brother William Tappan who helped build the first courthouse in 1810. So this last slide I have for you guys, this is actually one of those pieces of furniture that Benjamin Tappan brought back from the East Coast. This is a wooden bench, and it's actually displayed right now at the Portage County Historical Society. So when they open back up, you guys can go there and check it out. It was originally donated to Reed Memorial Library by historian John Lowry, who's the one who tracked it down. And then Reed Memorial Library donated the furniture to Portage County Historical Society, so everybody can enjoy it there. So that's basically a quick overview of Tappan's life in Ravenna. He left Ravenna in 1809. He wasn't very popular there because he would actually foreclose on properties if people didn't pay the rent on time or if he owed them money. So he became very unpopular in Ravenna. There's stories of explosives being left on his front porch or somebody shaving the mane off of his favorite horse. And there's even reports of his house being burned down. So Tappan left and he went to Steubenville. He actually became a federal judge in 1833, and he served in the Senate from 1839 to 1845. So he went on and had a very interesting life after that. So basically, there's a lot more to read about Tappan if you're interested, but this is just a quick idea to get you started. So once again, thanks again for watching, and we'll have another video soon. Thanks, guys. Bye.